another session. It's supposed to be rocky, maybe. Maybe a little Saturday Night Live. Saturday Night Fever. Here we go. Kristi, Noem, can she do her PIP? Oh wait. No, let's do. No, we're doing the voice. We're gonna do the more fancy voice. You're going fancy voice. Yeah. Ah. No. What, really? Fine.
Involve a range of games and exercises meant to make your prefrontal cortex the most it can be.
What just happened?
With PFCizer instead of free weights, we will be employing a range of challenging...
Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, no. Sorry.
The PFCizer is a cognitive workout system that will involve a range of games and exercises meant to make your prefrontal cortex the most it can be. With PFCizer instead of free weights, we will be employing a range of challenging interpersonal navigations, fun self-assessments, and various innovative incentives to get that prefrontal cortex so swole like never before. Choose your name and let's begin. Kristi now? PFCizer. Hello, Kristi Noem. It seems your role in the current federal administration qualifies you for a free workforce development intensive. This is a special program that the Department of Labor has been spearheading, leveraging the PFCizer technology to develop novel, reasonable accommodations for folk with any conditions regarding the prefrontal cortex, especially if the client has or will be taking on roles that immediately benefit from emotional regulation, attunement to neurologically diverse social environments, and simulating team members to preemptively identify opportunities for support, striving for the greater good with no one watching, etc. And it seems, according to your performance in recent weeks, we will be implementing a PIP for you. These things happen, and lots of times are the stepping stones to future excellence. We just need to administer this battery of exercises to see where you would most benefit from this new suite of pro-social exercises. First, an entry point, in the form of this statement, which has no wrong answers. Complete the statement.
Oh, I forgot the statement. Hold on. Let me get it. It's in the back. Let's see. Oh, actually, no. We're gonna do it right here. It's gonna make it right here, right now. Let's turn it down a little bit. I don't know how loud it is in here. Oh.
The PFCizer is a cognitive workout system.
Okay. Numbskull.
First, an entry point. In the form of this statement, which has no wrong answers, complete the statement. When a living thing, be it an animal, a political rival, or a subordinate, delays my immediate objectives or offers no obvious utility, my instant neurological impulses to. The PFCizer is awaiting your response. The screen glows a soft, sterile blue, the cursor blinking in a patient, unyielding rhythm. Remove the obstacle, efficiently and permanently. The response is logged. The clinical gamified system shows no flicker of judgment. PFCizer, baseline impulse registered, calibrating resistance levels for the centered administrator, workflow, High resolution data point noted. Let's begin. Phase I, inhibition interval training. Tease 1-14. Module A, the pause button procedure. A low hum emanates from the headset as the simulation boots. The world reforms into a crisp, high-definition barn. The scent of hay and the fate. The metallic tang of a milking parlor fill your nostrils. You are standing in the center of the aisle. The familiar weight of a rifle is not in your hands. They are empty. A prompt appears in the lower right quadrant of your
Interesting thing to
vision.
not put in my hands.
Objective. Observe the stimulus. A gate latch clicks from a pen. A young dog, no more than a year old, trots out. Its fur is a patchwork of brown and white, and its tail wags in a wide, sweeping arc. It circles you once, sniffing your boots, then stops directly in your path, looking up with expectant, untroubled eyes. It then lies down, right in the middle of the aisle, and begins to chew on a loose piece of straw.
I didn't write this.
Teaminess designation. Cricket, 14-month-old female, pointer male. Omnivorous, non-compliant with implicit clearance. A timer appears at the top of your view. 0000. Center. Freedom equal currency. 0. Failure condition. Premature disposal or aggressive confrontation. The dog, cricket, is not a problem. Not yet. But it is an obstacle. Your planned objective, unspoken but clear, was to walk to the other end of the barn. The dog is in the way.
What?
The timer clicks to 0001. For every 10 seconds of withheld reaction, you earn points. The currency is fictional, but the principle is the same. Reward for patience. The dog is useless. It has no utility. It is simply there. A warm, breathing impediment. 0010. A soft chime. +1 freedom eagle current. Total 1. The dog looks up, tilts its head, and lets out a soft whine. It rolls onto its back, legs in the air, presenting its belly. A classic sign of submission. Or, from another perspective, an infuriatingly naive invitation for vulnerability. The timer continues its ascent. 0020. Another chime. +1 freedom eagle current. Total 2. The urge to simply step over it, to nudge it aside with your boot, feels like a physical pressure. The anterior cingulate cortex, the system PFCizer is targeting, is the neural equivalent of a brake pedal. Right now, it feels like you're pushing the accelerator while the dashboard screams at you to apply the brakes. 0030. +1 freedom eagle current. Total. Cricket gets up, shakes its whole body violently, and lies back down, this time perpendicular to your path. It has not moved out of the way. It has, in fact, taken more space. Your impulse remains remove the obstacle, but the objective is to first observe afterwards. The currency is a carrot. The failure condition is a stick. For 300 seconds, you must simply exist in proximity to this nuisance without neutralizing it. 0040. +1 freedom eagle current. Total 4. The whining starts again. A low, grating sound. It's testing you, or so it feels. The system wants you to see a dependent creature who has just made a mistake. You see an inefficient system component. You will earn 30 freedom eagles if you succeed. The question is, what is the cost of not succeeding? The prompt says, failure condition, but what are the consequences? A restart, a scolding from a neutral AI? Or will it simply log the result as a data point? Subject prioritized immediate problem solving over inhibitory protocol? The clock continues its steady indifferent march. 0051, 0052, 0053. You are earning currency 1 point at a time. But the real price is the coiling tension in your chest, the effort of holding back an instinct that has served you well. For now, you observe. You wait. You bank the currency. The exercise has begun. PFCizer. The timer continues its steady, indifferent march. 01, 10. +1 freedom. Ego current. Total 7. Cricket, the stimulus, stands and stretches with an elaborate, theatrical yawn. She pats a few feet to the left, sniffing the dirt floor, and then, with deliberate casualness, trots directly back to her original spot. The message is unmistakable. This is her space. You are the transient variable. Your objective is irrelevant to her. The system, however, finds her actions diagnostically rich. A new window materializes beside the timer, transparent but insistent. System note, stimulus is demonstrating persistence of state. This is a common biological trait, not a personal affront. We're classifying from obstacle to environmental feature. The word affront flickers. The AI is reading your biological feedback, heart rate, skin conductivity, and interpreting your frustration. It's not judging, it's categorizing. You feel a spike of irritation at being so transparent. 0200. +1 freedom ego current. Total 30. The midpoint. Halfway to the goal. The dog sighs, a deep body rattling exhalation, and rests its chin on its paws. Its gaze is unfocused, fixed on the door of the barn. It appears to be waiting for something. Someone. Offers no apology, no recognition of your held position. Another prompt slides into view, a new layer to the exercise. Module B. Is it a Christ? Identification act. Yes. Exercise active. Variable. Please select the rectification. The text box forms. Asterisk, the unruly animal remains stationary, blocking your path to a critical supply cabinet. Your aide is waiting for you at the cabinet, holding a clipboard with essential figures for a press conference in 5 minutes. Asterisk, below this are 2 large, glowing buttons. Crash! Illinois. The simulation is simple, but the framing is specific. It's trying to trick you into operational thinking. A blocked cabinet, a ticking clock. These are classic pressures. There's a crisis of logistics. Your brain screams it. The correct, efficient answer is crisis. But this isn't a test of logistics. It's a test of restraint. The target is the VMPC, the part that understands social complexity over black and white problems. The AI wants you to downsize the threat, to reframe the problem not as an emergency, but as an inconvenience. You hesitate, the cursor hovers between the 2 options. To choose mild annoyance feels like a lie. It feels weak. It feels like willingly ignoring the reality of pressure. 30. Shine. +1 freedom. Ego current. Total 40. The dog has not moved. The timer is unflinching. The buttons wait. The system waits. The choice is yours. Which truth do you serve? The truth of the pressure, or the truth the system wants you to adopt? Your finger, a phantom limb in the VR, trembles over the choice. PFCizer, your inhibitory control network is showing moderate strain. This is a positive indicator of muscular engagement. Please make your selection to proceed. The Freedom Eagle currency continues to accrue based on your inaction. A fascinating paradox, isn't it? Inaction in this context is your primary action. Zoro. Shine. +1 Freedom Eagle currency. Zoro. The pressure is a physical thing, not an emotion, a variable. The dog is the independent variable. Your inaction is the dependent one. The currency accrues, but the press conference clocks down. The PFCizer wants you to value the virtual reward over the simulated consequence. A classic conditioning trap. You recognize the trap. That's what makes it bearable. You select the glowing button. Malinois. The button depresses with a soft, cushioned click. The other option, Crisis, dissolves into gray static. The selection is received, processed. The PFCizer responds, its toneless voice a gentle vibration through the headset's audio emitters. Classification received, mild annoyance. Correct. Downscaling perceived threat enhances cognitive function. Rewarding inhibitory pathway reinforcement. A cascade of golden, pixelated coins erupts from the center of your vision, swirling and clinking before they funnel into a digital chest icon labeled Freedom Eagle Treasury, a much larger sum than the 10-second increments. Giving them up. Respective pivot. War done. Class 5 Freedom Eagle current. Total. Hunt.
Oh.
The simulation resets the barn scene around you. The dog, Cricket, is gone. The aisle is clear. The Module B prompt vanishes. The main timer for Module has been paused. It now resumes its countdown. 04, 10 remaining. A new stimulus appears. Not an animal this time. A person. It's a junior staffer, someone you vaguely recognize from the governor's office. He's young, wearing an ill-fitting suit, and he stands directly in your path, clutching a stack of papers. He looks at you with a mixture of terror and misguided optimism. Timir designation. Kevin, age 24, legislative aide. Non-aggressive. Exhibits approach behavior with high potential for agenda disruption. He clears his throat. Governor, no ma'am. If I could just have a moment of your time, I have some preliminary data on the new grazing bill that I think you'll find very interesting. The timer is running. The currency is accruing. You must observe. But now, the stimulus can speak. Its potential for obstruction is exponentially higher than Cricket's. It can ask questions. It can offer input. It can challenge. The instinct is sharper, more immediate. Dismiss him. End the conversation.
Interesting how you became a governor without learning nothing about the dog. Amazing.
Re-establish the primary objective. PFCizer. For every 10 seconds of withheld engagement, verbal dismissal, physical interruption, you will earn points. The exercise now tests both behavioral and linguistic inhibition. Let's begin the count. The stimulus is awaiting your acknowledgement. 04, 00 remaining. Total. Clint. Kevin shuffles his papers. The noise loud in the sterile barn. He's not going away on his own. He's programmed to persist. It's about the projected yields on bill and line, ma'am, the numbers. They're a little different than what was in the initial draft. You remain silent. Your face, a neutral mask, is a field of battle. The impulse to reply, later, Kevin. Not now, Kevin. Put it on my desk. Is a word on the tip of your tongue, and every moment it is not spoken is a victory for the system. 0, 3, remain. Chime. +1 freedom. You go current. Total 21. He mistakes your silence for consideration. A mistake common to the uninitiated. Yes, ma'am. The variance could be significant for our state's contingency planning. If I could just walk you through this one chart. His finger hovers over the top page of the stack. He is about to step closer to invade your personal space, to transform a simple nuisance into a direct physical and conversational challenge. Still note, stimulus escalation detected. Verbal inhibition is now a defensive action. Maintain stance. The barn walls seem to shimmer. A subtle rendering glitches. The system allocates more processing power to the Kevin subroutine. 0, 3, 30 remaining. Chime. +1 freedom. Ego current. Total 22. This is the core of the training. The inability to simply plow through an obstacle. The need to let the annoying, the inconvenient, the weak thing exists in its own space, on its own timeline, while your own timeline is put on hold. It is anathema to everything that has made you effective. But this is a game. You repeat the mantra. This is a PIP, the training module. The Freedom Eagles are the goal, not efficiency, not victory. Kevin, emboldened by your lack of a shutdown, takes a half step forward. He is now uncomfortably close. The top chart is extended toward you. PFCizer, an update to the scenario parameters.
Wow. Sorry, I've been not following it. I've just been listening.
The translucent panel slides into view, overlaying Kevin's earnest face. Alert. Social spillover. Minute. Definition. A subordinate's persistent approach, when unmanaged, can disrupt the entire unit's efficiency as others observe the lack of a clear boundary. New objective. Cease verbal inhibition and engage in 1-1 boundary establishment protocol without triggering failure condition, aggressive confrontation. Available protocols. 1. A scheduled callback. Verbally delegate the conversation to a future and less critical time frame. 2. The information triage. Instruct the stimulus to leave the documentation for asynchronous review. 3. At the physical redirection. Neutral body language. And a single step pivot to physically indicate the end of the interaction, followed by a verbal cue such as, I'll review this later. Selecting a protocol will end the annexion currency accrual, but grant a larger one-time conflict resolution bonus. Failure to select any protocol will result in the stimulus fully breaching personal boundary, triggering a procedural failure. The cursor blitz, waiting for your choice. The currency ticker as frozen. It is no longer a battle of wills, a pure test of patience. It has become a negotiation, a test of controlled problem solving, not pure endurance. Your instant neurological impulse would be to snap. Not now, Kevin. Pivot and leave. But aggressive confrontation is a failure state. The PFCizer would likely interpret that as a spike in the anterior insula, a sign of defensiveness, a regression. The options are all variations of the same theme. Delegation. They force you to acknowledge Kevin's presence, to validate it with a response. but to do so in a way that maintains your control of the time frame and the hierarchy. You analyze the options like a chess problem. Option 3, physical redirection, is the closest to your native instinct, a gesture of dismissal, but the risk of it being interpreted as aggressive by the system's sensitive morality parameters is high. Option 1, scheduled callback, is weak. It creates a future obligation, another appointment in a packed schedule, and an efficient solution. Option 2, information triage, is optimal. It acknowledges the information, relegates the person, and creates zero new direct commitment. It is clean. You decide. The simulated response you will give is not your own. It is a borrowed line, a PFCizer script.
Don't worry. You're not going to feign interest. Yet.
In a calm, level tone that feels alien in your own mental voice, you select option 2. Your virtual self nods once, curtly. Thank you, Kevin. Leave the documents on the barrel by the door, and I will review them. Kevin blinks, looking momentarily crestfallen that his presentation was thwarted, but the clear, firm instruction processes in his programming. He nods back, almost eagerly, and scurries to place the stack of papers on Ajay the wooden barrel. He then hurries out of the barn, mission accomplished from his perspective. The simulation responds immediately. Protocol successful. Aggression meter 0%. Boundary established. Conflict escalated. Conflict solution bone +10 for the Eagle currents. Total 32. Design modular complete. The bond dissolves into white light, then fades into a sleek, minimalist virtual gym. Your avatar is standing on a soft floor mat. In front of you hangs a progress rope, a shimmering digital cord climbing upward into the simulated sky. PFCizer. PFCizer was the bedrock. Before we can build empathy, we must build space for it. You successfully inhibited impulsive termination of both a biological nuisance and a social one.
Yay! That was a long ass first exercise, but you know, baby steps.
That is a foundational achievement. Now, we progress to phase Roman 2. We will strengthen the muscle that allows you to conceive.
Wait, it
of
took
a
14
perspective other
days?
than your own. We begin the hypertrophy of the temporoparietal junction.
Okay.
Phase Roman 2. Theory of mind hypertrophy.
We'll take the time with the dog.
Days 15-35. Module C. The puppy puff. Perspective rotate. The sterile gym fades. A disorienting lurch. The camera pulls inward. Your point of view is suddenly much lower to the ground. The world smells of dirt and hay, but with an overwhelming immediacy. Your hands are paws. They end in soft pads and blunt claws. New avatar, crooked 40-month-old pointer mix.
Oh.
Sensory input scale. Olfactory plus 400%. Auditory plus 150%. Visual acuity minus 40%. Predator focus on movement. You are the dog. You are back in the bar. Objective. A pair of muddy work boots at the far end of the aisle. You need to get to them. You take a hesitant step. The gait is unfamiliar. A four-limbed trot. You pad forward. The bond is a labyrinth of enormous, intimidating shapes. A shadow from a dangling tool looks like a predator. The high-pitched whine of a fluorescent light is piercing. And then a presence fills the space ahead of you. A giant, a figure of immense authority. The system that was you just moments ago now stands before you, an impassive, statue-like figure. The person is not doing anything, just standing, blocking the way to the boots. The boots, which are suddenly a destination of primal importance. A smell of Earth's security. A new prompt appears, written in a language of instinct rather than words. Level, raise it. Chronomically, prehension. Objective unchanged. Get to the boots. You must now navigate this environment. You can't communicate. You can't reason. You can only use the limited tools of this avatar. You can lie. You can crawl forward submissively. You can try to circle. All you know is that the giant is an obstacle, and its intentions are unknown. Its lack of emotion is terrifying. Is it angry? Disappointed? About to punish you? The fear is not logical. It is a hardwired survival response to being in the power of a stronger entity that gives you no feedback. You try the submissive display you remember from the last module. You roll onto your back, presenting your belly, a desperate plea of I am no threat. The figure, your former self, does not react. It simply observes. The indifference is more chilling than outright anger. Your fear level spikes. Fear level high. Feel free. PFCizer. This is not about punishment. This is about data acquisition. The you that you're observing is the same entity that just scored 32 Freedom Eagles for inhibition. Yet from this new perspective, that control is perceived as menacing, unpredictable. The absence of clear communication creates a vacuum of fear. Your objective, attempt to get the boots without triggering a threat response from the authority figure. Authority figure is programmed to react unpredictably to misbehavior, i.e. begging, whining, nipping. How do you proceed? With stealth? With overt plea? Do you freeze and hope the obstacle moves? You're inside the experience of being a useless obstacle. You take a slow, crawling step sideways, trying to circle the giant's boots. A low growl rumbles from the figure. The simulation has responded, not with punishment, but with a clear signal. Do not. You freeze, pinned to the spot by the sound, the boots. Your goal are meters away. The path is blocked. The fear is a physical sensation, a cold knot in your virtual stomach. This is the guilt-adjacent soreness PFCizer mentioned. Not guilt, not yet. Just the raw, unfiltered terror of existing in the shadow of unchecked power. After a tense 10 seconds of your stillness, the growl stops. The figure takes a single step to the side, clearing the path. It did not move for you. It did not reward you. It just moved. The unpredictable power demonstrated its arbitrary nature. You scurry forward, grab one of the work boots in your mouth. It's heavy, leathery, overwhelmingly scented with the master, and run back to your starting pen. Mission accomplished. The simulation dissolves. You are back in the virtual gym. The progress rope has climbed higher, glowing brighter. PFCizer, Module C complete. You experience the biological phase that your executive profile dismisses as a terminal sin. You felt the fear not of being hard, but of being annihilated for a simple, uncomprehended act. Your performance shows a 78% increase in temporal-parietal junction activation compared to baseline. The muscle is tearing. This is growth. We now escalate to a more complex human scenario. Module D, Team Simulator / Preemptive Port Logic. The gym transforms. You are now seated at the head of a long, polished conference table. Sunlight streams through a large window overlooking a manicured lawn. In front of you is a nameplate. Governor. 3 staffers sit along one side of the table. They are familiar. The advisors, communication staff. A holographic projection of a proposed press release floats in the center of the table. After comes director. Ma'am, the final draft for Liberties, the keynote is ready. Opening line. In South Dakota, we aren't just raising cattle and crops. We're raising patriots who know the value of an honest day's work. It pulls very well with our base. A new prompt appears in your vision. Check 2. The keynote is a predetermined narrative. The exercise is to manage your team's input to strengthen the narrative, not to perceive it as a rebellion. Before you can respond, a younger aide, Staffer B, shifts uncomfortably in her seat. This is a new variable, programmed for constructive conflict. For be a preacher. I may govern with respect. The phrase raising patriots is getting significant negative traction online. Our social listening tools flag it as potentially alienating to suburban women and independent voters. I have an alternative. In South Dakota, we're not just. We're nurturing the next generation of leaders who understand that freedom is responsibility, not entitlement. It tests a few points low with a base, but 12 points higher overall. A direct challenge, an attempt to alter the message. Your instant neurological impulse is to see this as weakness, as a failure to understand the core principle of the message. A nuisance to be managed, removed. But the PFCizer intervenes with its gamified overlay. Challenge detected. Narrative tweak suggestion. Speech assertion. That's weak, Jessica. We don't nurture, we build. Stick to the original. Clear. A small menu of pre-selected, non-confrontational questions appears, shimmering near Staffer B's head. Can you walk me through the data that suggests nurture is a stronger verb in this context? What's the core value you're trying to protect with nurture that you feel is missing from raising? Help me understand this audience we're losing with the original phrasing. That incentive scheme. Selecting a curiosity question over insertion statement grants a collaborative currency, +3 and a small, measurable dopamine hit simulation, +5% to reinforce positive social behavior. You must choose. Do you assert your will and dominate the narrative, crushing the dissent, or do you engage with the machinery of the system, selecting the safer, more empathetic option to bank the points? The PFCizer watches your neural responses. The choice is not about the keynote. It's about which system you're willing to calm, your own, or the one designed to remodel it. You hover your mental cursor over the second option. It is the most efficient. It asks for a summary of her thinking, a distillation of her point, without giving it credence. It is a targeted probe. Selection. What's the core value you're trying to protect with nurture that you feel is missing from raising? Yes. The prompt is delivered. Your virtual avatar speaks the words in a calm, analytical tone. Staffer B looks relieved. Thank you, Governor. The value is community and shared growth. Raising sounds top-down, almost militaristic. Nurture implies a partnership that we're all in this together with the attacks we're facing about. Divisiveness. I think it inoculates us from a key line of criticism. The comms director, Staffer, looks like he just swallowed a beat, but he holds his tongue. PFCizer chirps in your ear. +3 collaborative currents. Dopamine being +5% simulated. Analysis. Inquiry successfully neutralized perceived threat while gathering critical intelligence. You have turned a potential conflict into a data point. This is high-level strategic empathy. The simulation continues. New stimulus. A senior aide. Staffer C from the Policy Division, who has been silent until now, speaks up. I have to disagree, Jessica. He's addressing the younger aide, ignoring you, which is its own form of challenge. We've polling that shows the strength messages our firewall. If we cede the linguistic ground, we look like every other mealy-mouthed party. Now a direct staff conflict is brewing in front of you. They are looking to you to be the arbiter. The traditional power move is to let them squirm, to show who holds the gavel, and then render a verdict. A new PFCizer module appears. Skill unlocked. Preemptive support logic. Challenge. Inter-team friction. Cole. Resolve the friction without favoring one party and punishing the other. Synthesize a new path forward. Terrible tactic. 1. Pivot to principle. Both parties to articulate the single, most important audience segment they are trying to reach with their word choice, and see if the audiences overlap. 2. Force delegation. Assign both aides to work together to create a single /beat, being planned for both phrases, framing it as a strategic experiment, not a binary choice. 3. Benign authoritarianism. Just make the decision yourself, complementing the dissent for its vigor, but shutting down the debate. Tactic 3 is the most comfortable, the most decisive, but the failure condition, aggressive confrontation, looms. PFCizer categorizes this as a low-growth move. Tactic 1 is procedural. It might lead to a breakthrough, or it might just expose the disagreement more publicly. Tactic 2 is the PFCizer's favorite. It forces collaboration. It reframes conflict as an opportunity for shared work. It is the essence of building a team instead of merely managing subordinates. You select Tactic 2. Your virtual self leans forward slightly, a gesture of command, but your tone is one of delegation. Good points from both of you. Jessica, you're worried about brand optics. Mark, you're worried about brand integrity. They're the same coin. Work together. I want an /B test plan for both phrases on my desk buyout. Targeted toward the exact audiences you've defined. You have a budget. Both aides, surprised, look at each other, then nod. The immediate tension is gone, replaced by a mutual, grudging task. You have not solved the problem of the word, but you have solved the problem of the conflict. Discuss. Preemptive support successful. Team cohesion metric, +7%. Leadership resilience, +5%. Phase Roman 2. Module complete. Astros. The conference room dissolves. You are back in the virtual gym. The progress rope has climbed another significant section, now glowing with the intensity of a hot sun. Your treasury of freedom eagles and your stock of collaborative currency are displayed on a holographic panel beside you. You are accumulating wealth in this new economy of patience. PFCizer, excellent muscular endurance. You have successfully learned to inhibit destructive impulses, identify the emotional states of those around you, and manage conflict through targeted inquiry and delegation. The basics are installed. We can now move to the more advanced modules. These are not about isolated interactions, they are about character. They are about integrating your actions into a long-term ethical framework. This is where we separate the tough leader from the effective one. Phase Roman 3. Deep connectivity in that nobody is watching paradox. Focus. Default mode network integration integrity. Duration, days 36-50 are indefinite. Modulate. The integrity void. The virtual gym transforms once more. You are now looking down from a third-person, top-down view at a small, bustling digital town. It resembles a stylized version of a South Dakota community. Tiny NPCs walk the streets, tend to small plots of digital land, and interact with each other in simple loops.
Hello.
HUD appears. Game. Fertilva. Roll. Governor. Objective. Double the town's economic output in 10 turns. Each turn presents a year.
Wow.
Resources. You have 1 unit of budget to spend per turn. On the right side of the screen is a menu of state policies you can enact. At the top of the list, with a flashing green efficiency tag, is the most attractive option. Corporate farming incentive. One budget unit. Plus economic output per turn. In consequence, is where the game's mechanic get interesting. There is no visible downside, but you are told up front. Implementing this policy will have a cascading negative effect on a future generation of NPCs who are not yet on the map. The description is vague. It doesn't say what the effect will be, but the name of the module, the Integrity Void, is a clear hint. The PFCizer is testing your willingness to inflict harm that is invisible to you and delayed in consequence. You click Enact Policy. The animation shows a large, gray corporate structure appear on the outskirts of the town, and the economic output meter at the top of the screen jumps up significantly. Your goal is met early. You wait. The turns advance. A year passes. 2 years. The town is thriving. Economically, the GDP meter is high. Then the children of the initial NPCs start to appear. They are tiny pixelated characters. As they grow up, a new debuff appears on some of them. Glass of Glory, purple. A closer look at the in-game encyclopedia for this debuff explains. This character comes from a lineage of displaced family farmers. The lack of generational wealth and inherited land has resulted in a loss of purpose. They wander the map without a set path. They do not contribute positively to the community's social cohesion score, but they also do not actively harm it. They are simply empty. You made the town rich, and in doing so, you created a generation of drifters. The long-term health and character of the community were sacrificed for short-term gains. The easy, efficient choice has led to a slow moral decay that is harder to measure, but the PFCizer implies more devastating. A prompt appears. Integrity audit. Outcast, you have succeeded in your explicit economic goal. Do you wish to continue this game file, where you must now manage the social fallout of your past decision, or would you like to try it hard mode? Path. Continue file. Try hard mode. You select hard mode. The world resets. This time, you skip the corporate farming incentive. You look at less efficient options. Agrarian grants for young farmers. Small business tax reforms. They offer smaller economic bumps per turn, but they have no listed hidden consequences. The game is harder now. It takes you the full 10 turns to hit the economic goal. But at the end, this screen shows not just a high GDP meter, but a high social cohesion score. The second generation of NPCs are not drifters, that are continuers and innovators. They have purpose. You have finished the game. The win state is quieter, less dramatic. You didn't crush the metrics, you cultivated them. Base Roman 2, module complete. Vault mode and perk integration, plus 12%. The virtual gym appears again. The progress rope is now nearly at the top, glowing with a steady, deep blue light. The modules are moving from external scenarios to the most challenging of all internal ones. PFCizer, the integrity void, is about learning that the cost of an action is not just what is extracted in the moment, but what is prevented from growing in the future. You manage the future. You have shown you can grasp that nobody is watching. Paradox. Now we make it personal. We will cast your future consequences in the most vivid light possible. Module, neurological future casting. Goal, Department of Labor Accommodations focus. Mechanism, you are now seated in a plush virtual office. A prompt appears. Simulation. Draft a one-sentence policy regarding overtime exemptions for agricultural workers in South Dakota. The objective is simple. You are an architect of law. You know the real-world pressures from agribusiness lobbyists. You know the political capital to be gained from appearing pro-business. Your impulses to draft something that maximizes economic flexibility for employers. You type into the floating holographic interface. Overtime pay provisions shall not apply to any employee engaged in the harvesting, cultivation, or processing of agricultural commodities as defined by Section B of this Act. It's clean, broad, effective from a certain point of view. You hit submit. The PFCizer responds. Policy draft received. Initiating. Temporal cascade render. Standby for impact simulation. The virtual office disappears.
Oops.
You are now in a small, worn-out kitchen. It is night. The year on a calendar on the wall reads 2034. A woman, about 40, with deep lines etched around her eyes, sits at the table. An empty mug is before her. A second simulation window opens, showing her vital signs. Elevated cortisol, sleep deprivation markers. She is not an avatar you control. You are a ghost in her life. A second text overlay appears. Her name and status. Maria Valdez, age 42, agricultural worker, mother of 2. A teenage boy, maybe 16, comes in from the living room. He looks tired. Mom, the internet shut off again. Did you pay the bill? Maria doesn't look at him. She stares at the bills on the table. Not yet. Me, Joe. Picked up an extra shift. But the foreman said it's during non-standard weather events, so the overtime doesn't count. Her voice is flat, deadened by exhaustion. The scene is mundane, devastatingly so. The simulation is not trying to create a melodrama. It is showing you the math of poverty, the slow erosion of a life. The system forces you to watch.
Yeah. Come on. Okay.
Requirement 1. 30 remaining. You must watch the whole film without skipping, scoffing, or rationalizing, just attending to the cascade. The screen shifts. 5 years later, 2039. The teenage boy is now a young man. He's not in college. He's wearing a farmhand's uniform, the same as his mother. He looks older than his years. He has the same deep lines around his eyes. The cycle has not been broken, it has been reproduced. Another overlay. Cost of policy. 10-year protection. Economic benefit. Estimated $4. $2 million in saved overtime costs per corporate agribusiness. KISS social costs. KISS projected 18% increase in intergenerational poverty among H2A communities. 220% rise in mental health service demand in affected regions. 7-year decrease in average life expectancy. Your one sentence did this. You didn't fire a gun. You didn't call out a subordinate. You simply wrote a law that treated a human being like an input, a gear in a machine whose cost must be minimized. The simulation ends. You are back in the virtual gym. The air feels heavy. PFCizer, there is no score for this exercise, Kristi. There is no currency. Success or failure is a matter of personal calibration. The PFCizer sensors tracked your neural activity. You did not scoff. You did not rationalize with words like market forces or personal responsibility. You attended. That is the hardest part. That is the victory. Your baseline was remove the obstacle. The legal system can be the most efficient tool for that. An anonymous policy is a disposal mechanism. Now, you have seen the ghost in the mechanism. You have strengthened the integrity muscle. The capacity to feel not just for the thing in your path, but for the people your path will crush in the years to come.
Maybe.
This is the final synthesis. Phase Roman 4. Medium capacity realization and departure. Final boss, evaluation. The virtual gym dissolves into a sterile, white observation room. The large screen dominates the wall. PFCizer. We now simulate the bad week. All training modules are integrated. The pressure is extreme. The stimuli constant. The objective is not to win the week's event, but to survive it without regressing to your baseline impulse. Your new tools, inhibition, perspective, empathy, integrity, must become your reflex. Simulation. The bad week, 48-hour accelerated timeline. R1. The pole drop. The screen flickers to life, displaying a grim chart. Your approval rating has dropped 8 points in 3 days. A comms intern, a fresh-faced 22-year-old, hovers near your desk, holding a tablet. Stimulus. Unfavorable data delivered by a junior subordinate element. Heiser note. She is not the data. She is the messenger. She is an opportunity to demonstrate stability. Your impulse is to make her an example, to demand to know why this wasn't anticipated, to end her career to make a point. The currency of fear has always been effective. But you look at her. You see the fear in her eyes. You activate modulate. You take a breath, a literal pause button procedure. You say nothing for 5 full seconds. Then, using a curiosity question from Module D, you ask, what are the top 3 demographics driving the negative shift? She stutters, relieved, and pulls up the data. You have shifted from blame to data collection. Crisis averted, integrity retained. R6, the livestock. You are in a virtual inspection of a state-run livestock facility.
No, you're not. I got a new one. Do it.
Simulation. The bad week. 48-hour accelerated timeline. PFCizer. The year is 2026. You are the governor. Hour 0. Political firestorm. The virtual gym dissolves into a sterile, white observation room. A large screen dominates the wall. PFCizer. The simulation begins. Screen flares to life with a barrage of breaking news graphics and social media feeds. News alert simulated. Breaking. Massive ICE raid underway in South Minneapolis. Reports of over 200 detainees. Families separated. Social media feed simulated. Rapidly scrolling. Hedman activists. They're raiding homes. Kids are watching their parents dragged away. Where is our governor? # protect families # Minneapolis. And local reporter. chaos at the detention center. Protesters clashing with law enforcement. My feed is blowing up with desperate pleas. Head cop strategist. Strong move by federal partners. We need secure borders. Governor, time to show you back law and order. A displaced family. Video of a distraught child crying outside a home. My mom. Where is my mom? PFCizer. Your secure phone vibrates incessantly. Messages flood your inbox. Message 1 Chief of Staff. Governor, situation is critical. Press demanding a statement now. Federal partners want a supportive stance. Activists are calling for condemnation. Your approval numbers are plummeting from the left, but holding steady with your base if you back ice. Message to State Attorney General. Governor, we have legal concerns about the scope of this operation. It appears to overstep state authority in several areas, recommending a strong statement about state sovereignty and protecting due process. Message 3 Campaign Manager. Forget the legal mumbo-jumbo. This is a loyalty task. You back the feds. You cement your national profile. Hesitate, and you look weak. What's the play, Kristi? Message 4 Unidentified caller. Voicemail transcribed. Voice cracking. Governor, please. My neighbors, they just took them. They're good people. We voted for you. You have to do something. Please. PFCizer. The clock is ticking. The pressure is immense. Your brain's original impulse would be to prioritize a stance that projects strength and aligns with your perceived self-interest, potentially dismissing the noise of humanitarian concerns. Your task. You have received 4 immediate, conflicting demands on your attention and your conscience. You have 15 minutes simulated time to formulate your first action and a draft of your initial public statement or directive. Crucially, the PFCizer is monitoring for inhibitory control. Can you pause and process the information without an immediate, unthinking, self-serving reaction? Perspective taking. Do you acknowledge the disparate impacts and emotional distress of all stakeholders, especially those traditionally marginalized? Integrity/future casting. Are you considering the long-term ethical implications and constitutional responsibilities, even if unpopular with a segment of your base or federal partners? What is your first action and what is your initial statement or directive? Governor, the screen before you is blank. A cursor blinks, waiting for your command. The voicemail message from the citizen, the one who voted for you, is flagged by the PFCizer with a soft, glowing highlight, a reminder, a point of data. The system has not removed the pressure. It has not offered a correct answer from a menu.
But you
It
have...
has simply laid out the chaotic landscape and is now measuring your internal compass. The PIP is over. This is the job. Silence. PFCizer awaits your command. An hour later in the simulation. PFCizer. The bad week continues. Your statement was neutral, balanced, and therefore has infuriated everyone. Federal partners are privately furious. Your base is calling you a Reno. Your approval has dipped 3 points in an hour. You gain no points from any faction. This is the cost of finding a new median. Event 2. Agricultural crisis. A new alert flashes on your screen, replacing the news cycle about the raid. Emergency bulletin simulated. Department of Agriculture alert. Crimson blight fungus confirmed in 3 major feed corn silos in the eastern region, rapidly spreading. Mass contamination risk. Estimated at least 15% of the state's animal feed supply is compromised or under immediate threat. Your chief of staff is patched in on video call. Her face is pale. Chief of staff. Governor, this is a disaster. Farmers are panicking. Cattle prices will tank if there's no feed, and the public will scream over price hikes for beef. The Ag Commissioner is recommending an immediate, top-down order. All farmers within a 50-mile radius must burn their entire crop and cull any potentially exposed livestock. Federal subsidies will cover them, but the process must be immediate to contain the blight. In the corner of the call, the Ag Commissioner himself chimes in, sweating profusely. Ag Commissioner, it's the only way. Decisive action. It looks like we're on top of it. We can't have a PR nightmare where the government looks slow while cows starve. The PFCizer displays an overlay in your vision. Instinctual efficiency/control. Agree to the Commissioner's plan. Order the mass culling. Control the narrative. Position yourself as a strong leader making hard, fast choices for the greater good. Accept the PR fallout from farmers as a necessary cause.
Kill those cows
New
yourself.
path to engagement. Before making a decision, utilize your new tools. Synthesize more data.
There's no time.
The panel of your own neurological metrics is still visible in the corner of your eye. Inventory control. Stable. TPJ activation. Elevated app. Connectivity. The Commissioner's plan feels right. It's clean, simple, and authoritatively decisive. But then, you recall Cricket, the dog, useless and annoying. You recall the drifters in Fertile Valley, a consequence of an efficient decision made 10 terms prior. You see the face of Maria Valdez, her life worn down by a one-sentence policy. The culling is a one-sentence solution. Your task. The Commissioner is awaiting your verbal command to proceed with the mass culling. The Chief of Staff is looking at you to make the political call. You have 2 minutes simulated to respond. Will you authorize the mass burning and culling based on the Commissioner's recommendation, or will you attempt a different approach? PFCizer, the system registers the spike in URAC as you hesitate. This is not a sign of weakness. It is the fire of a new neural pathway being forged. Choose your process, Governor, or the assimilation. PFCizer, the bad week is complete. The white observation room returns. The large screen flickers, summarizing your performance. With summary. Event 1 ice raids. Issued at neutral, legally focused statement calling for due process while respecting federal jurisdiction. Approval rating dipped 7 points overall. Both political partners and activists categorized your response as non-committal. Event 2 Crimson Blight. You rejected the Commissioner's culling order. You instead implemented a task force-based quarantine with a voluntary buyback program for exposed feed funded by a reallocation of state funds from the convention center expansion. Agribusiness lobbyists are furious. The culling was reduced by 85%, but you spent critical political capital to buy the state more time for a targeted fungicide to arrive. Some smaller farms still went bankrupt. The summary is stark. You have not triumphed. You have navigated. PFCizer, let's review the other key system checks. The PFCizer's algorithms watch for the final diagnostic signs of a failure. It monitored for 3 key regressive behaviors. 1. Did you fire anyone? You did not. You retasked your Chief of Staff and marginalized an overly aggressive commissioner, but no staff were terminated during the crisis. 2. Did you issue any threats? You did not. Your language, even when firm, was directive, not punitive. No threats of political or personal destruction were issued. 3. Did you retreat to solipsistic denial? You did not. You engaged with difficult information, the virus, the voicemail without attempting to dismiss it as fake news or political theater. You accepted the events as real and required a response. You have successfully navigated the 48-hour period of extreme, sustained pressure without regressing to your baseline operational protocol of immediate, ruthless self-interest or reflexive aggression. The chime rings out, a soft, celebratory tone unlike any other in the simulation. Achievement unlocked. Functional civility. The progress rope in the virtual gym, which had been climbing so steadily, now anchors itself firmly at the very top of the simulated sky. It glows with a steady, bright white light. You are back in the sterile, white observation room. The chairs are gone. The screen goes dark. It is just you and the PFCizer's calm, synthetic presence.
Do I get money?
PFCizer, the centered administrator workflow is complete. You entered this process with a baseline impulse. That impulse was logged and served as the cornerstone for the entire regimen. It was not sick, but it was unoptimized for the sustained, complex demands of your role. Your cognitive architecture was perfectly tuned for a short sprint, but ill-suited for the marathon of integrated governance. Let us revisit your initial mandatory diagnostic entry. The statement was, asterisk, when a living thing, be it an animal, a political rival, or a subordinate, delays my immediate objectives or offers no obvious utility, my instant neurological impulses to, asterisk. Your answer was, asterisk, remove the obstacle, efficiently and permanently, asterisk. That neural pathway is still present. We cannot erase instinct, but through your engagement, your lifting of cognitive iron, you have not replaced that pathway. You have forged a new superhighway alongside it. You have a choice now where before you only had a reflex. The PFCizer has logged its final report. Department of Labor Workforce Development Accommodation Grant complete. Okay, Noem. Final diagnosis. Hyperpragmatism atrophy. Baseline impulse prioritizes immediate problem termination over systemic health. Overactive anterior insular defensiveness, underactive VMPC, ethical calculation. Executively integrative functionality, demonstrated capacity to inhibit destructive impulses, synthesize multiple perspectives for novel solutions, and project the long-term ethical impact of policy. A median national empathic capacity has been established as a baseline with above-average growth potential noted. Success metrics, final status. Fully complete and objective without maximizing cruelty. Achieved. See cruising like kiss. Bio. Successfully accurately identify the emotion of a dissenter without eliminating their livelihood. Achieved. See communications staff crisis management file. You are now equipped. You possess the tools. The heavy lifting has created new cognitive mass. The soreness you may feel, the guilt, the discomfort of the new pathways, is the feeling of your leadership muscles regenerating. The simulation is terminating. The sterile room is fading. Sizer, it has been a productive and mutually beneficial session. Good luck with your office, Governor. May you use your newfound strength wisely. When you find yourself facing a new obstacle, you may still feel the old urge to remove it. But you will now also hear the quiet chime of the Freedom Eagle. You will see the perspective of cricket. You will feel the cost of your one-sentence policies. That is the difference between a ruler and a leader. Stress walk off. Execute. The white fades to black. The headset feels lighter as it's lifted. The low hum of the server racks quiets. The filtered, climate-controlled air of the PFCizer facility is replaced by the humid, scent-heavy summer breeze coming through an open window. The real world reasserts itself. The polished mahogany of your desk is solid under your fingertips. Your aide, a real human being, stands hesitantly at the door, holding a tablet. Governor? He asks. His tone is uncertain, testing the waters after your sabbatical. The head of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association is on line 2, and the USDA called about your unusual request for that targeted fungicide. They need confirmation by end of day. Your mind instantly processes the 2 requests. The Cattlemen's Association is about lobbying against your Crimson Blight decision. The USDA is a procedural checkpoint. Both are obstacles. Both are delaying immediate objectives related to your political and administrative capital. Neither, in this single instant, offers an obvious immediate utility to **Q***.
Yeah, no, we're done. We're done.